Jack contemplated the 20 imaginary drinks, the martini glasses blushing droplets of condensation, each with a swizzle poked through a plump green olive. He could almost smell gin on the air. "The Wagon," he said. "Have you ever been acquainted with a gentleman who has hopped up on the wagon?" Lloyd allowed as how he had met such men from time to time. "Have you ever renewed acquaintances with such a man after he hopped back off?" Lloyd could not, in all honesty, recall. "You never did, then," Jack said. He curled his hand around the first drink, carried his fist to his mouth, which was open, and turned his fist up. He swallowed, and then tossed the imaginary glass over his shoulder. The people were back again, fresh from their costume ball, studying him, laughing behind their hands. He could feel them. If the back bar had featured a mirror instead of those damn stupid empty shelves, he could have seen them. Let them stare. Fuck them. Let anybody stare who wanted to stare. "No, you never did," he told Lloyd. "Few men ever return from the fabled wagon, but those who do come with a fearful tale to tell. When you jump on, it seems like the brightest, cleanest wagon you ever saw, with 10-foot wheels to keep the bed of it high out of the gutter where all the drunks are laying around with their brown bags and their Thunderbird and their Grandad Flash's Popskull bourbon. You're away from all the people who throw you nasty looks and tell you to clean up your act or go put it on in another town. From the gutter, that's the finest-looking wagon you ever saw, Lloyd, my boy. All hung with bunting and a brass band in front, and 3 majorettes to each side, twirling their batons and flashing their panties at you. Man, you gotta get on that wagon and away from the juicers that are straining canned heat and smelling their own puke to get high again and poking along the gutter for butts with half an inch left below the filter. He drained 2 more imaginary drinks and tossed the glasses back over his shoulder. He could almost hear them smashing on the floor. And goddamn if he wasn't starting to feel high. It was the Excedrin. "So you climb up," he told Lloyd. "And ain't you glad to be there? My God, yes, that's affirmative. That wagon is the biggest and best float in the whole parade, and everybody is lining the streets and clapping and cheering and waving, all for you. Except for the winos passed out in the gutter. Those guys used to be your friends, but that's all behind you now." He carried his empty fist to his mouth and sluiced down another. 4 down, 16 to go, making excellent progress. He swayed a little on the stool. Let 'em stare if that was how they got off. Take a picture, folks. It'll last longer. Then you start to see things, Lloydie, my boy. Things you missed from the gutter. Like how the floor of the wagon is nothing but straight pine boards, so fresh they're still bleeding sap, and if you took your shoes off you'd be sure to get a splinter. Like how the only furniture in the wagon is these long benches with high backs and no cushions to sit on, and in fact they are nothing but pews with a songbook every 5 feet or so. Like how all the people sitting in the pews on the wagon are these flat-chested Albertos in long dresses with a little lace around the collar and their hair pulled back into buns until it's so tight you can almost hear it screaming. And every face is flat and pale and shiny, and they're all singing, "Shall we gather at the river, the beautiful, the river." And up front there's this reeking bitch with blonde hair playing the organ and telling them to sing louder, and somebody slams a songbook into your hands and says, "Sing it out, brother. If you expect to stay on this wagon, you got to sing morning, noon, and night, especially at night." And that's when you realize what the wagon really is, Lloyd. It's a church with bars on the windows, a church for women, and a prison for you. He stopped. Lloyd was gone. Worse still, he had never been there. The drinks had never been there. Only the people in the booths,